can start. Oh, good morning, everyone. My name is Cristina Coluna Distria, and I'm the P2 Greenest project coordinator. I hope that you see well my screen now, that you hear me well. I'm very glad to welcome you all here in the context of this third P2 Greenest webinar, which is organized in a series of 6 webinars. Before going into the details of these presentations and giving the floor to Ms. Diana Yanaki, who is our external expert, I would kindly ask you to listen to a few words about our agenda. I'm trying to change. Yes. Sorry, I'm just... Yes, so as you could probably understand, our webinar is organized in the framework of a package of webinar. The first two ones were organized in February and March. We are organizing today this third webinar, which is belonging to a package of 2 webinars focused on opportunities in Moldova, practical and technical information to bid. Today, we will cover, let's say, 3 main points within this webinar. I will give you a short presentation about P2 Greenest project and mainly the business support service we are developing for EU companies in order to bid in the Republic of Moldova. Then I will give the floor to our colleagues from the Chamber of Commerce and Industry to give you a short presentation of the country. And then we will give the floor to our external expert on tendering system in Moldova, Mrs. Diana Yanaki. The second webinar, organized on the 27th of April, will be a more technical webinar, and there, within that webinar, you will have more information about the tender opportunities in the targeted sectors. You will have some main information about the public procurers from the Republic of Moldova. You'll have also an experience shared by a Romanian company who already bidded in the Republic of Moldova. So if you wish to have all the keys in order to bid in the Republic of Moldova, I kindly invite you to follow these 2 webinars in order to have a general overview. Now, some logistic aspects. Please keep in mind that this webinar is recorded and will be shared on the project, the P2 Greenest project website later. Please keep during the presentation your microphones off in order to avoid any background noise, and please do not hesitate to write any questions into the chat so that we and Diana will be able to gather them together and answer to them during the presentations. Some words about P2 Greenest project. P2 Greenest project is financed by, co-financed by the European Union by COSME program, which is managed by ISMEA, which is the internal market SMEs agency of the European Union, and which has the objective to support EU SMEs to grow and develop in the internal market, but also in the external one. That is why our project, mainly focused on EU SMEs, is aiming to help the ones working in the circular economy to participate in public procurement in Eastern countries. And as its title says, initially the project was targeting 2 international markets, the Republic of Moldova and Ukraine. But due to the actual situation and after the beginning of the war, in Ukraine, we decided to add 1 more country in order to have much more opportunities for our companies and reach valuable results until its end. So today we are covering Moldova, Serbia, and Ukraine. Some words about the partnership. We are four partners. 2 clusters and 2 business support organizations. One cluster from the south of France, éco-entreprises, the cluster I'm representing, green energy cluster from Romania, FADE, which is a federation of companies from Asturian region, Spain, and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry from Moldova. So our aim is to join our forces together and to build for you a support service aiming to help you, companies, but mainly SMEs, to participate to public procurement market opportunity. How concretely and in which areas? We are covering waste, water, and energy sector, and we developed during the last years, during the preparation phase, a market screening in order to understand the market tendencies in Moldova and Ukraine. We did a SWOT analysis in order to understand the SMEs' needs and the impediments they may face when they position in the international markets. And thanks to these findings, we are putting now in place these trainings and networking sessions which are going to come in order to help you EU companies to bid in Moldova and Serbia, but also Ukraine. I would like to suggest you to switch off your microphones to avoid any background noise, please, or perhaps our company providing the tool may switch off the microphones from the other guests, please. Thank you. As I said, we are now organizing the training sessions for you based on Moldova, but also some others webinars will be organized on Serbia later on. I will show you. We are planning 2 international trade missions, one in Serbia and one in Moldova. We put in place and already have available a e-watch tool, which is a monitoring mechanism aiming to help you identify interesting relevant tenders in the wastewater and energy sector, which we, the partnership, identify for you. And once you subscribe into the tool on our website, you receive alerts in time in order to position yourself on the interesting tenders. And once you identify the relevant tender, we also are ready to put at your disposal a help desk with local experts in order to help you to submit the tenders, because we know that for you companies, it is quite difficult to get positioned in a new market because they lack knowledge about legislation, about practical technical aspects, language issues. So for this, we are going to support you with local experts. So please do not hesitate to subscribe to the tender systems or to let us know that you are interested in wastewater or energy sector, and we will work with you in order to transform your objectives in valuable results. Who, you may ask you, who are the main beneficiaries except EU companies from this project? Of course, the project is targeting EU companies, but the SMEs from Moldova, Serbia, or Ukraine are also somehow our beneficiaries, because during the SWOT analysis and the market screening, we understood that for small enterprises, it's very difficult to position on a tender opportunity because of its size and lack of knowledge. That is why we think relevant to create consortia with local partners, with local companies and SMEs, and to submit together tenders in order to increase the chances for success. Public procurers may also be our beneficiaries, because by participating into our activities, into our networking session, they can obtain more knowledge about the innovation solutions in the waste, water, and energy sectors, European innovation coming from European companies and SMEs. So please subscribe into our networking upcoming events, because we really wish to collaborate with you, public procurers, in order to work and collaborate together and transform the Eastern territories into sustainable and energy efficiency ones. We are also open to collaborate with any other local relevant stakeholders, such as business support organizations, clusters, because we put our accent on collaboration, and we really believe that P2Greenest project may be a win-win project for EU companies, but also for the territories from the Eastern countries. As you can see here, we have three types of services: basic, medium, and professional for companies. The basic is just dissemination and relevant information about Moldova, Serbia, and Ukraine, about the market tendencies and the upcoming opportunities. To benefit from this service, you have to subscribe to our newsletter. Then we have a medium service, which is composed of trainings, these webinars like today, networking sessions that will come through B2Match platform, and the True Trade mission I was mentioning. And when we have the professional service, which will be dedicated to 15 SMEs, the ones which identify relevant tenders with us, and which we will help through our help desk and advisory services. Here, just for your information, some key dates to notice for our project. Now we are in the networking training session. It's a session lasting from February until June. We kindly invite you to join us in Lyon, France in October 23, because we will organize the cluster visit with French companies. Our P2Greenest partners will be also present. So Polytech Lyon is a very big environmental fair. And if you wish to network with French companies or to meet our project partnership there, we can organize for you meetings and agenda. Please let us know, and you are invited to join the delegation. We are planning the trade mission in November 23 for Serbia and in February 24 for Moldova. More information again will come on the project website. Follow us, follow our newsletters to be updated in time. The help desk is ready to be activated as soon as we have the first offers, tender opportunities identified in your sectors, and the project will end in May 24. I won't stop in details here, but that's the general overview of the webinars for your capacity building we are organizing within the project. We already did two, which will be available in replay version on our project website. We are organizing today this webinar, and the next one on the 27th of April, as you may know, and we are planning two more webinars on Serbia, following the same methodologies as the one focused on Moldova. We will perhaps organize something. We are following on the situation in Ukraine, and if a trade mission later on is possible, we will include also this targeted country and these opportunities into our program. But for the moment, we will focus mainly on Moldova and Serbia. And I was mentioning earlier the networking sessions organized within our project. What I will invite you to do is to register in this platform, which is already functional. We will share the link with you in the chat. This platform is made within P2Greenest project and has the objective to bring together EU SMEs, mid-caps, public procurers from European Union, but also from Moldova, Serbia, and Ukraine. On this platform, it's possible to plan and organize business-to-business individual meetings according to your availabilities and agendas. So the idea of the platform is to create a platform community of P2Greenest stakeholders. So please access the link. We'll share with you later on in the chat. And don't hesitate to create your profile and to meet in an individual meeting your peers from Europe or from Moldova, Serbia, Ukraine to discuss and enhance collaboration. This will be a first step before the international trade missions organized in the countries. Yes, here you have just some more views about our communication tools. The website is accessible. It has, you can subscribe to our newsletters. You can follow us on LinkedIn to be updated about our upcoming activities. And we have on the right side the screenshot of the tenders alert system. It's very easy to subscribe. You should select your sector of interest, water, energy, or waste, and you will receive alerts as soon as our project and our team identified relevant tenders for you to address. That's all for me. These are our contacts if you wish to contact us for more information. And I'm giving the floor to our partner from the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Ludmila Botoșan, who will present you shortly the country. Thank you. Ludmila, can you hear us?
Thank you, Christina. Good morning to everyone. I will share my screen. I will try to present shortly some information about the Republic of Moldova. I will start. The area of our country is 33,847 square kilometers. The population estimate for the 2022 is approximately 3.27 million people. Our capital is Chisinau with 780,000 inhabitants. The GDP is approximately $13.68 billion, and the GDP per capita is $14,200. The approximate figure for foreign trade for 2022 was $600,000, of which exports were $219.5 thousand. The imports were $379.8. There are some advantages of cooperating to Moldova. Since June 22, Moldova obtained the status of EU candidate country, which gives more opportunities for cooperation with EU SMEs. And also Moldova has a direct flight to 21 countries and 42 cities. Why Republic of Moldova? If speaking about public procurement, the annual public procurement contract awards is approximately $420 million. And this was the figure for 2021. It was noticed an increase in the first semester of 22 compared with the first semester of 2021, with approximately 40%. Also, the legal framework on public procurement is harmonized with the European Union legislation and standards. This public procurement law number 131 establishes standards of environmental protection in accordance with European sustainable procurement practices. And Diana Yanaki, our expert, will speak in more detail about this law. Also, Republic of Moldova has free trade agreements with the European Union and the Community of Independent States, also Guam countries, the European Free Trade Agreement, Turkey, UK, and also agreement on mutual promotion of and protection of investments with 34 countries. Speaking about some general information about the targeted sectors, I will try to present some facts and figures. If speaking about waste management, there is the National Waste Management Strategy of the Republic of Moldova 2013-2027. But also there are a lot of problems in this sector. The situation is not perfect, even if we try through different projects to implement European standards and improve the situation. In the Republic of Moldova, there are 1,140 waste landfills with a total surface of 1,224 hectares. The landfills are organized by local public authorities and in general do not comply with the environmental protection standards. About 90% of the amount of municipal waste is collected by sanitation services and is disposed through storage. There is no selective collection except in some municipalities like Chisinau and some other districts, and also recycling and waste recovery is still at a very low level. In this figure, you can see the structure of waste according to the source of origin. So you can see that most of the waste is coming from agriculture and food processing, which is followed by municipal waste. And lower figures, you can notice for waste coming from water treatment facility, construction waste, package waste, and other sectors. If speaking about water management, there is a harmonization of national legislation on water supply and sanitation in accordance with the European Commission standards and international obligations. For the period 2019-2021, we have taken some measures to develop the legal framework to create and enable environment and improve the situation in the areas of water quality. By the Parliament was adopted the law on drinking water quality, harmonized with European Union directives and World Health Organization guidelines, which entered into force in 2021. By Government Decree 442 from July 2020 was amended the National Water and Sanitation Strategy, which includes some priorities like improving the management of public water supply and sanitation services by establishing regional water supply and sanitation operators, also planning and developing public water supply and sewerage system in order to increase the access of the population to high water services. The goal for 2020 and 2024 is to achieve 80% water and sanitation infrastructure coverage in urban areas and 75% in rural areas. Here you can see some graphs on water use in Moldova. You can see that water use by category, most of the water is used in industry, which is followed by agricultural needs. Also, you can see that about 50%, a little bit more than 50% of population has access to sewage. This situation, as I said before, opens some opportunities, and there is space to improve the situation through different projects, and also participation of the European Union SMEs would help to improve the situation by bringing innovations to our country and making the situation in these sectors better. Regarding energy sectors, as you know, Moldova is highly dependent on foreign energetic resources. Speaking about consumption, it is about 4 million tons of oil equivalent of energy per year. Moldova energy self-sufficiency is very low. Around 20% of its energy demand is covered by domestic production, consisting almost fully of solid biomass. Also, Moldova needs to import most energy commodities to meet internal demand. All natural gas consumption is met through imports, mainly from Russian Federation. Imports cover 99% of Moldova oil consumption. all coal consumed must be imported as well. Natural gas accounts for more than half of Moldova total primary energy supply. Residential sector is the largest consumer of energy sector, around 1.5 million tons of oil equivalent, and solid biofuels cover about 50% of sectoral consumption. Transport sector is the second largest energy consumption in the Republic of Moldova, and the main driver of oil consumption growth. In this figure, you can see the consumption market share by type of energy. Most of the energy consumed is gas, and followed by oil and biomass. I tried to summarize some examples of projects in the sectors covered by P2Green East project. In Moldova, there are some implementation unit, like Moldova Energy Project Implementation Unit. You can see their web page, and they have a few projects. Moldova Energy Efficiency Project 22-25. Second district heating efficiency improvement projects in Chisinau, lasting till 2025, and power system development project, which will last till 2024. Another office, which is responsible for Moldova Solid Waste Management Project, is National Office for the Implementation of Projects in the Environmental Field. The National Office for Regional and Local Development is implementing the National Program of Local Development European Village, and different public authorities, local public authorities are developing different projects, including infrastructure projects and projects covering the target sectors of our project. You can follow the web pages of the regional development agencies, North, Center, and South. They also publish periodically some tenders which may be of interest for you. We encourage you to take active part in our project activities and follow our web page and our activities, and why not to create partnership with companies from Moldova. Thank you for your attention.
Now I would like to invite you to go directly to the more important presentation, which will be managed by Diana Inaki. As I said, she is an expert in public procurement. I saw that there is a question in the chat, so perhaps until Diana is sharing her screen, we can take her. So Ludmila, it's for you, the question. The question is about the energy strategy, if there is any energy strategy prepared or under preparation in the Republic of Moldova.
Yes, there is a strategy, and there is our Ministry of Energy, which was recently created. If more information, I can search and put the link in the chat.
Thank you, Ludmila. So this is to take note. Follow closely our chat. We will put into it during Diana's presentation all the relevant information about P2Greenest and also the mentioned strategy. We will put it in the chat, the link to the strategy, Domnul Cătălin Agustin. So Diana, the floor is yours.
Ms. Ludmila, may I kindly ask to stop share screen, please, so that I will share mine? Thank you. So, hello everyone. As Christina already My name is Diana Yanaki. I procurement specialist here in Moldova, various actors, stakeholders, as well as contracting authorities, economic operators, in conducting or bidding in tenders in Moldova for more than 7 years already. So today, as you have seen in the agenda, I will make a presentation on the tendering system in Moldova. How does it work? What are the main legal provisions here that would be of your interest in case you would be interested to bid in tenders here in Moldova? And also some useful examples of authorities that are developing or conducting tenders on the sectors that targeted, which are waste, water, and energy. So today it will be a more technical webinar, and the next one will be more practical with examples and other tips, let's say, for you in the case you would be in the future interested, as I said, to bid here in Moldova. So I will share my presentation. I hope you see my screen. Okay.
Perfect, Diana. We just do not see it in full screen, but
okay, I will do it in full. Okay, great. So before I start with the information I prepared, I'd like to mention that you are free to ask any question you might have during my presentation. It's not a problem. So basically, you can either raise your hand and I will take the questions, either write in the chat, how it is more convenient for you. So I will try from time to time to check also the chat. Other than that, there will be several minutes at the end available for questions and answers. I will try to be brief because procurement is complex sector, and there are a lot of legal provisions, technical issues, and so on and so forth. So basically, I will try to be focused on the information of the highest interest for you. So in case of any information you might need, please do not hesitate to ask. Here you have several dates and numbers that are characterizing the procurement market here in Moldova, because this is the point where you have to start analyzing the market before starting analyzing, of course, the tenders and the opportunities for bidding here in Moldova. So basically, for the last year, for 2022, we had a total volume of procurement around 689 million euros. It is an approximate number. It is official statistics here, so you can more or less understand the size of our market here. Also, you can see some numbers and indicators such as the average value of a procurement contract for the last 2 years. For instance, the average number of the bids per procedure and other indicators. I won't go too much into details because you have these numbers, and also Ms. Ludmila have mentioned some of them in her presentation. Also, if to go into details again, according to the official statistics, we have, as you can see, a procurement of, so the highest volume of procurement are of works for the last year. Usually, in other years, there were goods that were was the highest volume, but now for 2022, as you can see, we have 53% of volume for works, which means that currently in Moldova there are a lot of projects, a lot of infrastructure projects that are being implemented by different contracting authorities, by different public entities here. So basically that means that you have a lot of opportunities to bid here. Also, we have less procurement of services, as you see, 12%, and for goods we have 25%. So that you have a bigger picture of the size of procurement market here. So if speaking about the way a foreign economic operator or a foreign company may bid in tenders here in Moldova. So basically, according to our legislation, any foreign company has the right to bid, to participate in any tender which is being launched here in Moldova. We can see here as a provision in our legislation. Basically, we have two main laws here in procurement. The first one is the public procurement law that is regulating classic procurement, so-called. And then we also have a second important law, which is law on utilities. As called, or the law on procurement in the sectors of energy, water, transport, and postal services. This is a more recent law adopted in 2020, but entered into force on 2021. So if we go to the public procurement law, we can see in the Article 16, as I mentioned already, that any economic operator, resident or non-resident, has the right to participate under the terms of this law in the procedure for awarding a public procurement contract. So, and a similar provision is also provided in the law on utilities. I will call it as such during my presentation. So the same, it's provided in the law. Also, other useful information that you might need when bidding in tenders in Moldova, you may find it on the main portal in Moldova on procurement, which is the Public Procurement Agency portal, Tender.gov.md. And here, for instance, you can find all the legal regulations, the laws, updated and published on the component legislation, as you can see here. Unfortunately, the information is mainly in Romanian, as well as the laws and regulations and other legal acts here also are available in Romanian and in Russian, so no English. Also, here on that portal, you can find various instructions, guides, templates, documents that you might need in the process of bidding, and I will present them during my presentation. Important information for bidders is threshold in procurement, and here we have some news, recent news. Namely, we have new thresholds that will enter into force starting with July 1st, 2023. For instance, as you can see in this table, I tried to summarize all the thresholds for each procurement method. So basically, the public procurement law is regulating procurements above or was regulating procurements above 200,000 lei, Moldovan lei, which is 10,000 euros around, for procurement of goods and services. And then we have the works above 250,000 lei, which is around 12,000 euros. These are the current thresholds. But as I said, according to the new legal amendments, we will have, starting with July 1st, new thresholds. So we will have 300,000 lei for goods and services, which is around, as you can see, 15,000 euros. And then we will have for procurement of works 375,000 lei, which is around 19,000 euros. So basically, procurements below these thresholds are small value procurements, and they are not regulated by public procurement law or by and therefore they are not also all of them published in the electronic system. Then we have request for price quotations, which is which you can see here in the table, and the thresholds respectively. And then we have open tenders for the procurement of goods, services higher than 800,000 lei, which is around 40,000 euros. And then we have for procurement of works, procurements above 2 million lei, which is around 100,000 euros. Here, I also included one important aspect, namely related to the appliance of the electronic auction here in the electronic system, for which procurement method is mandatory and for which one is optional. You will have it here in the table, but I will describe this, how does it work a bit later within the presentation. Okay, I see the chat that we have some, okay, there are some links, no questions. Okay. So here I would like to mention that according to the public procurement law that is regulating, as I said, classic procurement, the law requires that all procurement procedures regulated to be carried out electronically through the our e-procurement system, and which is M-tender. So mainly in practice, through the system, contracting authorities or contracting entities are conducting two types of procurement procedures, and these are open tenders and requests for price quotations. So that when you will go in the system, and I will present some examples, especially within the next webinar, how does it work and how can you find different tenders. And secondly, we have, as I mentioned, sectoral procurement or procurement utilities sector, which is a bit different. So basically, law on utilities does not explicitly require contracting authorities to conduct procurement through the e-procurement system. However, in practice, as we can see from the e-procurement system, majority of contracting entities in this case are conducting especially large procurement electronically. In that regard, for this kind of procurement, contracting entities are using the mainly open tenders, so that we understand how does it work for each kind of procurement, since the law on utilities is regulating the sectors targeted in our webinar. Okay, so to go further, I mentioned several times the e-procurement system. and the fact that the majority of procurement here of tenders are being conducted through the electronic system, as the law says. So here you have our e-procurement system structure here. The Moldovan e-procurement system is a multi-platform system, which means that we have the central database, which is Mtender GovMD, and also the public portal, as you can see, Mtender GovMD. But precisely the procedures are being conducted through several platforms where both contracting authorities and bidders need to be registered. And these are e-licitație, MD.MD, Mtender, which is a new governmental developed platform. And there is another private platform called achiziții.md. So all the no matter of what platform you will be using, the information, the procedures, and all procurements are being the same, both on the Mtender GovMD, which is the portal, public portal, and also on each of the platform used. So it might be the case when, for instance, contracting authority is using a platform because they like it, e-licitație, but a company is registered and is using, for instance, achiziții MD, which is a different one, but and it can bid for the same tender. So there are no issues here. Moreover, in case you want to use for the future another platform, you can also register to it. So basically no limitations here.
Diana, I'm sorry, I will
Yes.
interrupt you because it seems that the Romanian translation doesn't work. So I would like to ask the technical team to help us to solve this issue.
Okay.
You know, if someone can, we cannot hear you. Inessa, we cannot hear you. I don't know if she's trying to tell us something.
But we don't hear her.
But I checked it. Auzim, perfect.
So I can continue, right?
Add.
Okay, so also as you can see, related to the e-procurement system, the system is managed by the Center of Information Technologies in Finance, which is subordinated to the Ministry of Finance, so-called CTIF here, which is responsible for the development and maintenance of the online single access portal Mtender, and also integration with other state information resources and other relevant governmental electronic services available here, and also ensuring the interoperability of the nominated system with the joint technology platform and cloud, which is functional here in Moldova. So here we have the public portal of the Mtender system. As I mentioned, I will go into details and with the examples, particularly during our next webinar. What is important to know about the electronic system and using the system platforms. So basically, for your information, the use of the electronic system is free of charge. But so that you know, the public procurement law provides for a fee for participation in tenders. Namely at the Article 65, which says that when submitting the offers, the economic operator pays a fee. However, the appliance of this provision is not yet regulated and therefore enforced. so that you will know for the future, and in the case of regulation on fees will be developed and adopted, then you should know such important information. For the moment, is free of charge. And also, secondly, to be able to participate and bid in a tender, you need there is a mandatory registration at least on one of the platforms, as I already mentioned. It's up to you which one you choose according to the I don't know, the structure, the colors and other features. The information and data and documents is the same for on each of them. Important or the main procurement documents that are being available in the tender for any procurement or for any tender that is being published by a contracting authority or entity here. So first of all, so when a contracting authority is launching a tender, it needs to attach the tender documentation, including technical specifications. Secondly, contract notice, of course, and the third mandatory document is the ESPD form. So you will have access to all these documents when opening a procurement in the tender system. In some cases, these documents can be modified. For instance, contracting authority is have done some mistakes in the information, including in these forms or in these documents, and then they are updating the documents and republishing them again in the system. So basically, you will see that all the documents are being kind of with a line, and the new ones uploaded recently by the contracting authorities are the ones that you need to use. But also here is easy because there is the date and the even the hour when the contracting authority has published them. So it's easy to follow the process. Also, it might be the case when there was an appeal on tender documentation and the authority was obliged to modify the technical specification, for instance. Then we have related to the tender documentation. Here, according to the law, contracting authority have to develop the tender documentation very clear and accurate and explicit for any bidder, and without mentioning any concrete, for instance, concrete goods or concrete specifications or concrete companies, in order to not in order to allow to any potential interested bidder to participate in the tender. In the case in the case the tender documentation is not clear or does have some technical specifications unclear for the potential bidder, you have the opportunity, and the tender system has a technical functionality that allows you anonymously to publish a question, and the contracting authority will answer it. And clarifying, of course, your question. The tender documentation is elaborated by the authority based on the standard documentation, which is approved by the Ministry of Finance, both for goods and services and for works. Related to the to how the ESPD works, I believe it's nothing new, because the ESPD form was implemented here in Moldova based on or in order to apply the European directive. So basically, it works as the ESPD in any other European country. So I'm sure you already know about it. So it's the same declaration on responsibility as preliminary proof, instead of a variety of certificates issued by public authorities or third party that confirm that the economic operators meets the following conditions. So first of all, it is in none of the grounds for exclusion, which are mentioned in the public procurement law. Secondly, meets criteria on capacity, as was requested, of course, by the contracting authority in the tender documentation, and in the case, if the case meets selection criteria set by the contracting authority. So here is the main part of the ESPD, and here you have the parts that you need to complete here when bidding. So as I mentioned, it is very similar to the ESPD applied in other European countries. The only thing is the fact that, again, the document is in Romanian only available. Related to the bid security, an important document here, and I suppose it's useful information for any bidder interested in tenders here. The bid security is optional for small value contract, and also for request for price quotation. But it's mandatory for open tenders and other procedures that are with an estimation value higher than 800,000 Moldovan lei. As I mentioned, around 40,000 euro for goods and services, and procurement above 2 million lei for works. So in this case, for such procurement, the contracting authority will mandatorily require from bidders the bid security. The form of bid security here, the most used two forms is bank guarantee, and also the second one is transfer to the contracting authority account. If previously contracting authorities have used mainly the bank guarantee form, currently I can see that many of the contracting authorities are using both of them, or basically allowing the bidder to select which is the more convenient for them. So either you will submit a bank guarantee, either you will transfer the you will transfer the amount of the bid security on the contracting authority account. That situation is a result of different appeals that have been submitted to the authority responsible for appeal examination and settlement. So in the end, the conclusion was that contracting authority should not limitate the form or should not limitate the bidders when presenting the bid guarantee. It can be done in different ways. Also, the size and period, important. The bid guarantee cannot exceed 2% of the bid value, which is without VAT, the estimation value of each procurement, and of course bid validity according to the award documentation, to pay attention on this aspect. One important information here is that in case a contracting authority is requiring a bid security, and the bidder from different reasons, does not submit the bid guarantee together with the with other bid documents. In this case, the contracting authority, of course, will have to reject the bid. Okay, what happens when or in which cases the contracting authority will retain the bid guarantee from the bidder? So there are three cases for such situation. The company withdraws or modifies the bid after the expiration of the term set for submission of the bids. The second case is when the winning company does not sign the procurement contract for a reason or other. The company refuses to sign the contract in the case it was awarded. And the third case is when, after acceptance of the bid, is not secured or any condition laid down in the tender documents is not met prior to the signing of the procurement. So that you will know that these three situations, in these three particular situations, the contracting authority will have the right to retain the bid guarantee or bid security. The second guarantee that we have in procurement, it's the guarantee of the contract good performance. And here is the way this guarantee is regulated here in Moldova by the law. So basically, the contracting authority will ask the bidder to submit upon conclusion of the contract a guarantee of contract's good performance. Otherwise, the contract won't be signed and registered. The guarantee of the contract good performance shall be returned by the contracting authority at the moment of the execution of the contract. So, for instance, in the case of a contract of works, at the end of the final reception of the works, and not a day before. Also, the amount of the guarantee of contract good performance shall not exceed 15% of the value of the public procurement contract. This is regulated in the law. And again, in the case of procurement of goods and services, which are below the thresholds of 800,000 lei for goods and services and 2 million lei for works, the contracting authority can has the right to not ask for a guarantee of the contract good performance. Indeed, for the procurements above these two thresholds, the contracting authority will mandatory ask for such a guarantee from the bidder. So you should pay attention from the beginning in the tender documentation where these two guarantees and the conditions for them are being stipulated from in the first place. Here we have the main qualification criteria, which are regulated in the law, and based on which you will be prepared and you will be submitting your bid in various tenders. Of course, based already on the tender documentations prepared by and published by the contracting authority. We have the first of all eligibility of the bidder or candidate, which in this case is the SPD form provided for the or published by the contracting authority, and then you will need to fill in. We have, secondly, capacity to execute a professional activity. Here we have legal capacity to supply goods, provide services, execute works procured. So basically, of course, the company should be registered and should have the right to and capacity to do so. Economic and financial capacity, regulated in the Article 21 of the Public Procurement Law. In this case, the authority may ask different bank declarations, financial reports for the last year or for the last 3 years, for instance, a declaration regarding the total or specific revenue, again, in the last year or, for instance, last 3 years. And also current contractual obligations, basically a list of the contracts you have currently under execution. Related to the technical and professional capacity, which is regulated in the Article 22 in the public procurement law, the requirements included in the tender documentation might refer to supply of goods services during the last 3 years, for instance, or works executed in the last 5 years, for instance, to make sure that the company has the requested experience. Equipment, staff, and its training for the staff, especially when we speak about works. There are different staff that mandatory, that the company mandatory has to have in order to be able to execute the works required. And also part of the contract that is to be subcontracted, if the case might be. And we will talk about this kind of association, consortia, and subcontracting with examples during our next webinar. And also we have quality assurance standards according to Article 23 of the law, and environment protection standards provided regulated in the Article 24 from public procurement law. So this shortly is related to qualification criteria, which can be included by the contracting authority in the tender documentation. Also important, another important component of the procurement process is the award criteria for the public procurement contract. So here there are 4 awarding criteria that are being regulated by the law. So contracting authority is the one deciding which one to be applied for their tenders. So either there will be the lowest price, which is in fact the most applied here in Moldova. Second one is the lowest cost. The third one is the best price quality ratio, and the fourth one is the best cost quality ratio. To be noted that for the award award criteria 3, 3rd, and 4th, as I mentioned, the share of the price element must be for the goods above 60% or at least 60%, for the services at least 40%, and for in the case of works at least 80%. This is regulated by the law and it is mandatory. But as I mentioned, you will see that the most frequently used award criteria is the lowest price. Then, based on the documents and the requirements included in tender documentation that have been published by the contracting authority for a specific tender, you as a potential bidder have to prepare already the bid. So according to the law, the offer or the bid should consist of the following mandatory documents. We have technical proposal, first of all. Secondly, we have financial proposal. And the third one is the ESPD. And also these three are mandatory for any tenders, and also there is the fourth one, which is bid security, in the case the contracting authority have required in their tender documents. You have to be noted that all bid documents must be signed electronically according to the Article 14 of the law. Otherwise, in the case you will submit the offer complete and according to the technical requirements, but without being signed electronically, the contracting authority has, according to the law, to reject your bid. Here is the governmental service in our country for the electronic signature. But anyway, a foreign company cannot obtain or register and obtain an electronic signature here in Moldova. Which is why recently in November 2021, according to the economy digitalization package, the electronic signatures issued by an authority from any European Union country are recognized in Moldova and therefore accepted in tenders. Therefore, any foreign economic operator that does not need anymore to get the electronic signature issued by Moldovan authorities using, for instance, a registered company here in Moldova or other solutions. To be noted, it is already this provision is already in place, and it is easier already for the foreign companies to bid here. When you will be submitting a bid for a tender, for any tender, in the electronic system, you will have these 5 documents categories. Design for each kind of documents you will have to submit. We have first eligibility documents, which is the ASPD form, of course. Secondly, we have qualification documents. Then third one, financial proposal. The fourth one is technical proposal, and the fifth is other documents, which refers to in which you will be uploading any kind of guarantees, insurance, authorizations, as the case might be, and according to the requirements included in the tender documents. Okay, related to, if you remember in the slide with the thresholds, I have included which in which cases the electronic auction is being mandatory or optional. So how does it work, this electronic auction here in Moldova? Basically is taking place according to the principle of bid calling. The bidders can lower the price of their offer during 3 rounds of auction. So basically, in the case that you are not ready, or you do not want to lower the price of your initial bid, you do not have to do it. I mean, it's optional, but still you should know that in case a tender is published with electronic auction, this electronic auction will take place as you can see. But it's not mandatory to lower the initial value of your financial proposal. At the end of the electronic bid, the system automatically will order the bids. Of course, the first one being the one with the lowest price, and then the contracting authority will start the evaluation. My alarm says me that I have several minutes left. Okay, here from the electronic system, you can see in which cases the procurement is with electronic auction. Here you can see. And therefore, we have different time for bid submission and bids opening. And also here is the case when the tender is without electronic auction. So then the bid submission deadline will be the one, the same one as bids opening. But as I mentioned during the next webinar, I will show you concrete example from the electronic system. Another important information shortly in 3 minutes is important for companies related to the right to appeal. Yes, Christina?
Not to worry, you still have time. It's 15 until 25, so you can take your time.
Okay, great. It's really difficult to briefly present the procurement system, but I'll try to do it. But this is really important information for bidders, because you have the right to appeal in a case you consider that contracting authority allowed some regulations, or your rights have been the law did not was followed by contracting authority, and you consider that there are some shortages. Then you have to know that here in Moldova we have the National Agency for Complaint Settlement. I will call it ANSC, which analyzes appeals. The important information is the fact that appeals can be submitted only for the tenders above the thresholds for small value procurement. So for the tenders regulated by the public procurement law, and not for small value contracts. And you have here the same thresholds I already mentioned. And an appeal can be submitted at 2 stages of the procurement processes. The first one is before the bid opening, and the second one already after the decision of the contract awarding. So what are the terms for submitting an appeal? It's 5 days for the thresholds regulated in the law, which means below 2.3 million lei for goods and services, and below 90 million lei for works, and 10 days for the contract value above the mentioned thresholds. To be noted that these days are calendaristic days, and any appeal that will be submitted after the above deadlines will be rejected without examination as being tardy. So you should also keep in mind this information. Here you have all the information related on how to submit a complaint and through which means, because you can use email, you can do it online, and you can do it also by fax or even post. And any information on the process, on the appeals, in the process of examination, and on ANSC decisions, you will find on ANSC webpage, which is ansc.md. But also this information is available in the tender system at the appealing procedure stage within the procurement process. Of course, again, unfortunately, we have this information mainly, and these forms and templates, decisions, mainly in Romanian. Here you can see the portal of the ANSC is really transparent, and every information can be found here, including the entire decision in PDF of the on an appeal. What can be, which are the grounds to submit an appeal before the bid's opening? again, important information for the potential bidders in case you are interested in participating in a tender. And you can see, for instance, restrictive requirements in the tender documentation. You can see, for instance, mentioning the name of specific brands, products, without including the phrase or equivalent in some cases, as PP law, public procurement law requires. Also, for instance, you can even appeal a lack of a clear or complete answer from contracting authority to a clarification question. In the case the authority does not clear or clarify your question. And also there are other cases when you can appeal. Here we have grounds to submit an appeal at the contracting awarding stage already, or in other words, at the results of the awarding process. For instance, in case you consider your bid was corresponding to the tender documentation, to the requirements, but however, a contracting authority has rejected it. In the case you do not consider the evaluation process according to the law, or for instance, other participant bid was accepted without being compliant with the tender documentations, and other grounds you might have. Here is the appeals procedure. As I mentioned, you will also find it is provided in the law, and also on the ANSC webpage. All the forms and all the terms I have already mentioned here. Important information here is the fact that ANSC decisions are also administrative acts, which means that they might be challenged in the court in the case you do not agree with the ANSC decision. And during an appeal examination, the contracting authority does not have the right to conclude the contract according to the law. This is according to the law. And shortly here, I have selected several or the main contracting authorities or entities in the targeted sectors, with a couple of examples from the tender, which I will be presenting, as I mentioned already, live in the tender during our next webinar. So we have here authorities in the sector of energy, water, waste, as I said, the main one. If you would like, for instance, if you are working in, for instance, in the energy sector, and you are interested in specific tenders within the sector, you can find you can use the searching engine in the tender system and include, for instance, tenders of the Thermoelectrica in Moldova, and all the tenders of this company will appear in the on the tender, or even in the platform you will be using, or where you will be registered, for instance, Acquisiții MD or Elicitații MD. Here also some other entities, I will mention only some of them. We have Apă Canal Chișinău in the water sector, and also there is a similar Apă Canal for every district or every big city here in Moldova, Cahul, Ungheni, Bălți, and so on and so far. We have Chișinău municipality, which is of course the biggest municipality here in Moldova, with the higher budget, and all its subordinated enterprises and directorates. They have various projects, various infrastructure projects, and also enterprises active in the, for instance, the targeted sectors. We have the Ministry of Economy, of the Environment, of Infrastructure and Regional Development, and also 3 regional development agencies, which are conducting here high value procurement in the targeted sectors. We have Regional Development Agency North, South, Center, and more recently another one has been created for the Chisinau municipality. And also we have, for instance, Organization for Entrepreneurship Development, so-called ODA. Again, they are conducting big, large procurement here in different sectors, including the one we are talking about. And also we have a public institution here, Office of the Management of Foreign Assistance Programs. This, again, similarly, they are publishing their tenders in the tender system. So to wrap up the session, I will shortly conclude with several conclusions and then several recommendations for you. So basically, you can see that in Moldova there are legal provisions allowing foreign companies to bid at any tender. The electronic signature issued in the European Union countries are already recognized here in Moldova. There are plenty of opportunities to bid for tenders in the targeted sectors, as you already seen. All open tenders and requests for price quotations are being conducted electronically, therefore transparently and through the electronic system, and every interested bidder can have access to them and the documentations published for each of them. One big challenge is the language, given that the majority of tenders here and procurement are being conducted and published in Romanian. Few of them are being also available in English. Usually there are big procurements or large procurements within big project, infrastructure project conducted here. But again, the majority of them are in Romanian. So here you have several recommendations. First of all, as already mentioned, you have to register on one of the tender system platforms. It's up to you which one. Secondly, you have the possibility to select in your account on the platform you will be registered the CPV codes according to your interest and to the sectors you are working in, so that you will get a notification in the email anytime a new procurement is being published in mTender. And it's easy to follow any process happening here. The third recommendation is find a local partner to bid in consortia or in associations to overcome the language barrier and other challenges you might have with the local perspective. The fourth one is contract local expertise in procurement or even in the sector targeted, if necessary. This is not a mandatory. This is not mandatory. It's only my recommendation. The fifth one will be to follow the news in the procurement sector in Moldova, particularly the legal changes, new rules that might be applied, thresholds, procedures, and so on and so forth. Since you will be interested in tenders, of course, it's important to follow and to know the rules that are being applied, and of course the legal framework. One recommendation, since I mentioned that few informations are being available in English from the procurement sector for the foreign companies, you might follow EDIS Viitorul quarterly newsletter, which is issued in English too, on public procurement. It has the different news from the sector, different legal on legislation, legal amendments, and other useful information for every contracting authority or bidder. You can find this newsletter on viitorul.org webpage, as I mentioned in English. This is all from my side. I'm sorry for taking a bit longer than planned, but there are many information. I am ready to answer your questions if there are, and if
Thank you very much, Diana.
Thank you very much.
I did not see yet any question in the website, in the chat, but if someone is writing it down, perhaps I will start myself. Well, we took note that the main difficulties are the language, but I know that to this webinar, a big part of the registered people are from Romania. And so one of my comments is perhaps do not hesitate to connect on our B2Match sessions in order to meet Romanian and Moldovan partners to exchange together. I'm speaking also about other EU companies in order to make consortia and to overcome this barrier. I also took note in your presentation about the price evaluation, that it is somehow a weakness for EU companies because not always the best technology and innovation is coming with a low price. So I was wondering, what kind of advice are you giving to us as a partnership or to the companies to sensibilize public procurers to this aspect? Should we meet them? How do you see the things in order to make things change?
I see. Thank you for your question. Christina, is one of the main issue, let's say, in procurement process here. And we do this all the time, especially when discussing and training contracting authorities and trying to help them to understand that the lowest price does not always come with the highest quality, of course. So we try every time to explain them and to make them use other non-price criteria in order to allow highest quality for the goods, services, and works they are procuring. Of course, it's difficult because the laws allow the law allows them to use and to select one of the criteria. But every time we discuss with them, we explain why it is important and why they might get a really high quality for what they are being for what they are buying. But maybe the difference in prices cannot be so higher, but the quality is really higher. So in this case, it's only in their best interest to use non-price criteria, especially for the services and works that are being complex, or for infrastructure, or for different works that are being done here, which also needs different let's say innovations or different approaches that are new and that help them also to, for instance, being more sustainable. We also advocate here for sustainable public procurement. Why authorities should decide and should procure more sustainable goods, services, and works in order to have, for instance, a longer functionality duration, or to have less spending with them during their lifetime, and use all these aspects that are being provided in the law but are not mandatory. So in the end, it's up to them. But other than that, I think we can help them, and we have to inform them, and we have to work with them closely to make them understand why it is important to not always apply this lowest price, and to try to get a bit a highest quality.
Thank you very much.
I think it's one idea here. It will be to make joint discussions where will be participating companies, and also on the other side, the contracting authorities.
We will for sure consider your advice and try to invite in the platform for the networking sessions public procurers too, in order to discuss with the innovative companies from Europe, from Moldova, from Romania, and in order to be aware that innovation is good for them, and it's not just question of price. So that's our also job as a partnership in the upcoming months. And for sure, when we will come for the International Trade Mission in Moldova, I'm sure our colleagues from the Chamber of Commerce and Industry will be able to help us invite some authorities in order also to continue this rising awareness towards sustainable public procurement, because that's our project aim. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So if someone wishes to say something orally, if not, I propose you to close this session by thanking Diana for her presentation, our colleagues from the Chamber of Commerce for the presentation on Moldova, and a special thanks to our colleagues from FADE, to Celia Sanchez, who coordinated the organization of this webinar. Thank you very much, Celia, for coordinating this work. I invite you all to fix the 27th of April in your agendas to see the practical approach of Moldova tendering opportunities on waste, energy, and water sectors in Moldova. And please go in the chat, find the B2Match platform link and subscribe into the platform. We will also keep communicating on this system in the coming days. But it's a real good opportunity for you to meet each other in bilateral meetings, to find your partners in Europe or in Moldova, Serbia, Ukraine later on. So take advantage of this free platform, and let's keep in touch for the future P2Greenest activity. Also, one more point about the language. The e-tendering tool we developed for P2Greenest is normally providing to you an abstract in English. So if you have language difficulties, we will make a summary for you. And if the tender interests you, we will help you with the linguistic aspects too with the help desk. So do not hesitate to sign in the tendering alert too. That's all for me. Thank you very much to all of you for attending this session, and see you on the 27th of April. Bye-bye.
Looking forward to see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.